Hello everyone! We are going to present our research in the Foro de Estudios en Lenguas Internacionales 2021. The researchers are Anahí Rosas and María Fernanda Gómez Pérez. Our director is Cliserio Cruz Martínez.
The development of communicative competence through language acquisition with entertaining series. Recently, the use of English language around the world was possible through the expansion of media like TV, radio, cinema, and pop music. Specifically, the series are relevant in the entertainment industry and currently are very popular due to their wide accessibility. So it might work as an alternative to acquire English or any other language more naturally.
We decided to analyze the case of our sisters because we found interesting how by watching series and cartoons in English, they may have acquired the language during their childhood. So it seemed relevant to explore this possibility and consider that the audiovisual material could be used as a tool in the educational field in Mexico. Our general objective was to explore the development of communicative competence through language acquisition with the entertaining series in the particular context of three teenagers who achieved an astounding level of knowledge in English by only watching series they were interested in.
Another objectives were to explore the process of English acquisition and its impact, to understand the effects that language acquisition has on communicative competence, and to report the pedagogical implication of this topic as well.
Well, our research questions were: to what extent does watching series enhance the development of communicative competence? What is the impact of watching series on the language acquisition? And what are the pedagogical implications of language acquisition on the development of communicative competence?
In the next section of the literature review, we can find the next contents. First, English is a global language because according to Harmer, even if English is the mother tongue of a lot of people in the world, they are outnumbered by people who English is not their first language and use it for communication. So, for that reason, English is classified as second and foreign language because Harman mentions that there is a difference depending on the environment of the people that is learning the language and the purposes of the use.
The situation of English as a foreign language in Mexico. The fact that English is currently one of the most spoken languages in the world tells us how important it is to learn it. However, that doesn't mean that each country dominates 100% of the language. In the current situation in Mexico, according to the Inglés es Posible, the level of knowledge in English is the lowest than is expected. The biggest problem that Mexico confronts is not only the low level in English, but it also the lack of improvement in the performance at public schools.
One of the hypotheses that Krashen has is the acquisition learning distinction, and that explains that someone goes through two independent processes, one conscious and another one subconscious, in order to develop competence in another language. Being able to use communicative competence in another language, according to Turbin, means to use language in a culturally appropriate manner and being aware of grammar rules.
Language acquisition factors that may impact on the development of communicative competence. The process of learning or acquiring a language or being able to develop an ability to communicate in another language can both be affected for different factors and it varies depending on the person. Some of these aspects are age, characteristics of the learner, level of the language, motivation, among others. Previous research on the impact of media on English acquisition through entertaining series. Recently, the development of technology is used as a helpful tool on language learning acquisition. Particularly, the use of audiovisual has grown rapidly because of the increasing emphasis of communicative techniques. This new type of tools can be useful for educational systems who are constantly searching for innovative ways to introduce a new language for their students.
For the methodology, it was decided to use a qualitative approach, and the type of research was a case study. According to Denzin and Lincoln, the qualitative research has an interpretative and naturalistic approach. So, researchers study things in their natural setting. For Creswell, a case study is a bounded system, a case or multiple, and has information rich in context. Both were used because the research required to report and interpret the detailed information obtained from the three participant cases presented, and also analyze the similarities and differences of each case.
For our data collection method, we use a semi-structured interview and a direct observation. A semi-structured interview is a face-to-face conversation that has a specific purpose, which the main reason is to obtain the information from the topic. The direct observation was selected due to being required to describe events or behaviors on a specific spot, and to study the participants in their daily environment to know how they perform and employ their communicative competence in English in the classroom. For this research, the data analysis method used was the basis of grounded theory. This is a general methodology for developing theory that is grounded in a data systematically gathered and analyzed. The context of the participants. One of them was Lynn. She was 14 years old, is from Jalapa and studied in the Secundaria Técnica número 97. She said that the cartoon that introduced her into English was My Little Pony. The other two participants were Ryu and Valerie. They are twins and were 17. They studied in the Cebetis número 65 in Coatepec. Ryu and Valerie say that the series that introduced them in English were Hannah Montana and Big Time Rush. The teachers of Ryu and Valerie participated in the research with the interviews. Both are English teachers in the Cebetis número 65 in Coatepec.
In the procedure, observations and interviews were employed to collect data for the research. First, the students' observations were held. Both researchers were in the participants' classrooms as passive observers, and the main objective was to watch the students using English in their class. After the observations, the interviews were held. First the participants' teachers and then the students. Teachers' interview were focused on what kind of activities they do in their classes and their perception of the English public education. We only interviewed two of the three teachers. Lead teacher didn't allow us to interview her because she was busy and didn't have time. The students' interviews were focused on their first contact with English, the series they like, and how they feel about their English classes.
The next section is the findings. The impact of watching series on the development of communicative competence through language acquisition. In this research, it was found that the three participants may have developed their communicative competence through watching series. The three participants share one aspect in common. They all started to watch series in English because they did not want to wait until they were dubbed in Spanish, and they were more feasible to find online. For the development of communicative competence in the English class through tasks or activities, the observation of Ryu, Valerie, and Lynn could suggest how they developed their communicative competence by their performance in English class through tasks or activities. They could learn new language or complement what they already knew.
It was found that the three students participants mentioned that they started to watch series and cartoons in English when they were children because they looked up a series on the internet and it was easy for them to find the series in English than in Spanish. They continued to do this while grow up because they didn't want to wait until the episodes were dubbed in Spanish and were broadcast on TV. The students' interviews showed that they acquired concepts, words, and phrases from different series. Also, it could be suggested that they picked up English because they deducted the context of the cartoon or series and might have processed the information to understand it without being completely aware of learning.
The age factor and language acquisition. After analyzing the interviews, it was shown that they started to interact with English since they were children, and this might be a factor that could help to acquire English. According to the critical period hypothesis, it suggests the idea that young children can learn a second language particularly effectively before puberty. Influence of English as a global language and language acquisition. The investigations have revealed that due to the importance of English as a global language, this might have influenced the three participants in their language acquisition process. considering English as a foreign language for them.
Individual factors for developing communicative competence. Ryu, Valerie, and Lynn seem to coincide in some aspects about how they develop their abilities to communicate in English, mostly in their English class, but also there are some differences. These different factors were individual level of English, intelligence, personality, and self-confidence. Also, as we can see in the quotations, motivation was crucial to develop ability to communicate.
Audiovisual material for English learning in Mexico. In this last category, the emerging data that researchers found was that audiovisual material might be used as a teaching tool for English classes.
Conclusions. The enhancement that watching series in English had in these particular cases in communicative competence was beneficial for the student participants, since it allowed them to develop and improve their speaking ability. It also influenced the low affective and no pressure environment that the series made for them, and it helped to shape their confidence in speaking English.
The implementation of audiovisual material, such as the use of videos, cartoons, or series, could help students to improve English learning in the academic environment in Mexico, because it may allow to develop the speaking ability by interaction with more real-life English, and not limited by the education materials only. Also, this could improve the national strategy in Mexico, and other similar cases about developing other abilities to communicate by acquiring a language through series could be explored and studied in distinct settings. Thanks for watching!
And I hope that you like it.